Hi guys, a very good evening and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. We are here again to expose Team Emerson, and we are not going to stop up until change comes to the nation of Zimbabwe. At a certain point in time, we have to agree that the only solution to our problems and quagmire is to have change in the nation of Zimbabwe, to have people-centered government in the nation of Zimbabwe. Emerson Mnangagwa was in Russia recently, and while he's there, he called for dialogue between President Putin and the Ukrainian president to resolve the crisis in between, or the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. But he forgot that here in Zimbabwe, he's actually refusing to meet with Nelson Chamisa, to talk to Nelson Chamisa. Is refusing to do that. But he was there advising others. Let us hear what he said, then we talk later.
I'd like to shift the attention of our conversation now to obviously something that's a big topic all across the media, across the entire world. That's the Ukraine conflict, of course. Vladimir Putin has consistently said he's ready to sit down at the negotiating table, come to a peace agreement, whereas the Western countries and the Kiev government seem to be reluctant to do that. Why do you think that is? Why are they unwilling to come to a peace agreement?
Let me assure you, Zimbabwe's policy is for dialogue. We promote dialogue. Wherever there's conflict in any part of the world, our stance is that we should promote dialogue. So wherever there's conflict, our position is that let us promote dialogue, because with dialogue you remove the issue of dying of people. Because you talk and talk. You may not agree, but it is better to talk and find yourselves.
Well, what would you say, how would you assess the move by many Western countries now that, I mean, is a clear escalation, where they've said that Western-supplied weapons can be used to strike Russian territory? How would you assess the effects that decision is going to have?
No, look, they make their own decisions, but we in Zimbabwe, what we call for is dialogue. If there is any conflict or any area of disagreement, let leaders stand up and go for dialogue and resolve issues of difference, of conflict, through dialogue. Not move to a situation where people die on both sides. No, we need dialogue. I believe that dialogue can resolve many issues. In fact, both the First World War was resolved when the leaders then realized that it was necessary to go for dialogue. The Second World War also concluded at the table. So it's a good lesson to realize that whatever conflict we may have, it ends at the table. But why have another journey instead of just going straight for a journey towards the table?
Well, based on the statements made by various Russian politicians, I would say the Russian government is probably in agreement with you there. But many are still asking the question now, who should they be conducting the dialogue with? Because after all, Vladimir Zelensky's elected presidential term has already expired, and he said that they're not going to hold elections in the near future. So would you say that Zelensky is the legitimate person that needs to be had a dialogue with, or would you say that there's another party in Ukraine that would be better to sit down at the negotiating table?
No, I will not identify individuals as this is the most suitable person or that is the most suitable person. Where there is a conflict, then those who are in conflict know who they are in conflict with, and they must go to the table. That's what it is. It should not be the duty of, say, Zimbabwe or myself to say X is the correct person to talk to. No. But those who are in conflict know as to who are in conflict with them, and then they must come to dialogue. It is our view.
So here is addressing some questions about the Russian conflict with Ukraine, and he is clear about going to the table to speak, to have a dialogue. Even though personally I don't believe that there is need for dialogue in Ukraine, there is a need for Vladimir Putin to simply scale down, to leave Ukraine, do whatever it wants. You know, this is the dangerous part of the whole thing. What Vladimir Putin is doing in Russia, in Ukraine, is the same thing which Emmerson Mnangagwa is advocating to do right here with Zambia. You want to invade Zambia because Zambia is having better relations with America and other countries. So you want to weapons to invade Zambia. Yet he's advising Putin to sit down with Zelensky so as to resolve what is happening in Russia. Okay, in Ukraine. Okay, that aside, here in Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa has refused to sit down with Nelson Chamisa. Nelson Chamisa has reiterated several times to say, Mr. President Emmerson Mnangagwa, let us sit down and talk and resolve the conflict which emanated from the 2023 elections. Mnangagwa cannot ignore that, cannot pretend that he doesn't know that the elections in 2023 were stolen. He cannot pretend that those elections he didn't win. He cannot pretend that FAS intimidated people. He cannot pretend that the delimitation exercises and processes which they did were wrong. He cannot pretend that they decimated the opposition willingly and deliberately so as to push Agenda 2030. So you would see that Emmerson Mnangagwa, what he was doing is that he was simply trying to run away from the real truth, from a backlash. But, you know, when you have messed up with Zambia, then if you mess up again with other countries, you become an enemy of everybody. He was trying by all means possible to seem as if he's neutral. But honestly speaking, you cannot advocate for dialogue when you are failing to have dialogue here in Zimbabwe. Make an open invitation to Nelson Chamisa as a president to say, Chamisa, we know the conflict we have, we know the troubles we have, we know the problems we have, we know the SOM report which is there. SADC is coming to Zimbabwe. Can we talk before SADC comes? Can we sit down and have a conversation? You can't do it. But you are there advising other countries about dialogue. Anyway, Ndara, at a certain point in time, we need to be truthful to each other. We are not kids. We are grown-ups. It's time for us to have serious conversations about these issues, not halabaloo. You cannot run away from real facts and the truth. The truth of the matter is there is a need to have dialogue in your own country, Mr. President. Say in Zimbabwe, there is a need for you to have dialogue with Nelson Chamisa. You said it clearly that those who are in conflict know for sure who they are in conflict with. In Zimbabwe, you are in conflict with Nelson Chamisa and the Zimbabwean citizens. Maduku said, I don't have a problem with the results. Monzora, the same. All these people, they said, we accepted the results. But Nelson Chamisa said, no, I'm not going to accept these results. You rigged us. And he's calling for dialogue, which means there is no need for you to bring Wanachavangu Nana Ngube. You know who you are in conflict with. Ngube is not part of this conflict. Chavangu is not a part of this conflict. It's Nelson Chamisa and the people of Zimbabwe who are part of this conflict. Why can't you bring them on the table? Why can't you bring them for a dialogue? So you want us to believe you. You want us to believe that you love dialogue, you love resolving things amicably. Yet you are refusing back home to talk to your counterpart, Nelson Chamisa. Personally, I will take you serious the day you call for a dialogue with Nelson Chamisa. But for how long are you going to evade? For how long? This is the reason why you are hesitating. You know for sure. You are hesitating today. You want to talk to Nelson Chamisa. Tomorrow, you wake up, you have changed your mind. It's because you are hesitating. It's because you know for sure that you stole these elections. Facts are going to be laid bare, and you are going to lose. But one way or the other, Mdara, regret your ranichokwadi. Kana wakabira chekuba achigare nenguva yakareba. Ndosaka uchiona mbavha dzichingoramba dzichiba. Inyaya yekuti zvekuba hazvigare. Anorobha mamillions nemamillions, anoramba achingorobha. It's a fact. Go to Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso there. I'll come with that story. He's doing wonders. And this is the reason why you are scared of young people. You are scared of young people because you know that if these young people unite and they work towards the emancipation of Africa, then you are in trouble with all the dollars. But it's time for you to rest, Mr. Man. You have to go and rest. Your advice is good, dialogue is good, but charity begins at home. Tangaika dialogue rajo mdara. Toenda kapatafra tonogara pasi. Totaura kuti election imichiba maifunge. Mumbo titsanangurira. Mutu dzoti 15 bids aya makaisa kupi. mumbotudza kuti gold mafia documentary muri kuti chinaro. So we need to have dialogue